along?
Everything has been good so far. I've been going over your lessons online, and it's been greatly helping me so far. I remember I took a when I first started studying, and that was back in July, and my diagnostic test was 133, and that was with like I had no knowledge of the LSAT whatsoever, besides basic conversations. I did not look at a basic prep test or anything. And when I signed up for the LSAC's website, I got an email saying that the Khan Academy had a free prep course. So I took the diagnostic, I got 133, and then I was very like, I was very stressed. I was like, oh wow, I don't know anything. And I was also very stressed because my um, law advisor at my college, I was in upstate New York in Albany, and I went to the College of St. Rose there. He said that when you take a diagnostic, that's that's a for sure number. When you see your diagnostic test score, that's where you stand. And he said the most, if you try again, the most you can improve by is by 5 points. And he's like, if you can improve it by 5 points, that's amazing. But when I came across your material online, I was like, oh my God, that has got to be one of the worst recommendations or advice that I've ever heard in my life. And then I started studying for a month. Uh, I did not take any prep test. I started for a full month. I studied for a full month. And then I took another practice test and I averaged at 150 just
Wow,
after 1 month.
that's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah. And after I saw that, I was like, you know what? This is the LSAT is learnable. It's just like anything else. Once you, at the beginning, of course, if you haven't heard of the LSAT, or if you've never like actually sat down and studied for, of course you're not going to know anything about it, right? It's just like anything else. And it's like taking a French course, and they give you an exam in the beginning of the on the first day, and then you get your score. Of course you'll be like, oh wow, I did so bad. But throughout the semester, if you like study for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, your score is going to increase. And that's what I realized with with on my journey of the LSAT and with your material also.
I'm really glad to hear that, Azad. Congrats on your score increase so far. And I'd love to do whatever I can to help you go even higher. So, what would you say is the biggest challenge you're facing right now in reaching that next level?
The biggest challenge for me would be time management, definitely. I've always had, I've always been struggling with time management when it comes to work and school because I've like throughout my college life, university, I was always working, whether it was part time or full time. With school, it was always like, I don't remember a time where I was just going to school. It was only school for me. It was never like that. So it's hard to manage. Even right now, I work part time, and I try to work. I try to make my work schedule nighttime so I can study for the LSAT during the day. And it's been working good so far for these past couple of weeks. I hope it goes like that. And I've started studying in July, but I've had some setbacks. There was a time where I had to take a break for like a month, and then I had to take another break because I was based in the United States. I had to move back to Canada. That was a bit of a setback also. But now I've been studying a good amount of time every day. Most days of the week, I would say out of the 7 days, I'm studying like 4 or 5 days with that schedule, minimum 2 hours a day. And I've been recording my hours as I study like each day. And I also note down like how many logic games I do a day. That just become a habit. I think I've heard it from one of your videos that or a video online. It said like minimum, I think 10 logic games a week would be helpful just to keep it, just to not become rusty and stuff. But yeah, that's the biggest challenge. Briefly, time management.
And what's your target test date?
In April, it was eventually I was scheduled for. So initially I was scheduled for October, then I moved it to November, then I moved to the January, and then I moved it to April. So my test date is now in April, and that's all because thanks to your helpful videos online saying to even 1 point, a higher score of 1 point on the LSAT makes a huge difference for scholarship, and that's what I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to receive as much financial help as I can, in terms of scholarships and whatnot. And your recommendations of saying, if I think that I'm going to do better in April than in January, then I should definitely take the test in April. And that's been my mindset ever since I've discovered your material on social media. So I've moved my test date to April, and I really want to take my time and really dig deep into the LSAT and get the highest score possible.
That's all great to hear, Azad. I'm glad my material's been useful. I'm glad you're allowing the time. I mean,
Yeah.
we're speaking now, mid-December, April LSAT, you got a good 4+ months. It's enough time to make anything happen. And so my suggestion is basically take those 4 to 5 days a week you're putting in and maximize the efficiency of what you're doing during that time. Because to me, the number of hours you're putting in is very reasonable. If you were taking the LSAT in 1 month, then of course you'd want to push to do a bit more per day. But if you've got till April, I don't see a reason to stress too much about the number of hours in particular. As long as you're doing at least 10 to 15 consistently, you're going to make steady progress.
Yeah, and I've been seeing that before. Like, I used to score like logic games on a prep test out of the section. I think it was 10 out of 25, and then I started working with your material. Now it's like minimum 15 I get on logic games out of 25 or 26, whatever it comes up to. And like I said, time management is the biggest deal. I feel like I'm not afraid of the material of the LSAT. As long as I make the time and I study, I overcome like every single obstacle that I've faced so far. It's just the putting in the time for me.
That's great to hear. Well, the fact that you've been able to structure your work schedule so that you can study during the day when you've got the energy is fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, you've
Yeah.
already taken the steps to block off the time. So to me, I'm not even as concerned about it. It sounds like you are, though. So I'm wondering, where
Yeah.
else do you think you might be able to get more time that you're not currently getting? What else is
Honestly,
competing?
maybe I don't credit myself enough sometimes. Maybe that's the case. It's just this whole when you're, I'm sure as you know from experience, when you're in this whole LSAT atmosphere, you're just stressed. Like whatever you feel like, whatever you're doing at that moment, you're like, oh wow, I should be studying for the LSAT right now. I just feel like everything else besides studying for the LSAT is a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that nervous mindset, when you're about to take an exam, even though it's months away. The LSAT is a huge deal. Obviously, it's one of the most important factors, when you apply for a school. So it's that it just when I'm even when I'm eating sometimes, like, okay, I should go study right after. It's just that mindset. I'm not sure why, but I
I hear
mean,
what you're saying.
as yeah, but with time, I mean, I'm doing the best I can. Like I said, I've been, I've come up with this strict schedule. Study for in the morning, work at night, and then just keep on repeating. And then in between, I give myself always 1 day off of the week, and then some a bit overwhelmed with the material that I'm going over with. But with your, I've been comfortable. I've been very comfortable with studying for the LSAT with your material, because when I signed up for your course, I also got the schedule, like down to the date, which section to. It's first start with logical games, of course. Logical games. Okay, here, watch this video and then complete these PTs, these games on these specific PTs. That's helped me a lot, because when I used to study off the book, I would be, let's say if it was the LR Bible, I would be studying with then, like what kind of questions should I practice coming out of this, studying off of this book. So your material really, it put me in a strict pathway. I'm the type of person where I like to be organized and planned, and I know what I'm gonna do. And your schedule has just done that. It's give me, okay, day one, this is what you do. Day two, day three, and so on, up to 16 weeks, which is pretty great.
That's the goal. No, I'm glad it's been helping. Let me ask you this though. Are you on track with the schedule, or do you feel like you might be falling behind? Where are you at in relation to it?
Right now, I'm on track. I'm not behind. I'm not far behind, or I'm not ahead. I'm just at where I need to be right now. Like I've looked at the full schedule, and I've checked the calendar until April, and it's just like I'm right on track right now. So if I can put in some more time and get ahead, like slowly, not to rush or anything, it would be best. But right now I'm on track. I just need to keep doing what I'm doing.
Awesome. Well, if you're on track, then you've got nothing to worry about, and you don't need to be beating yourself up for like having a meal for sustenance versus like studying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's always nice to feel like you're ahead, but I wouldn't want you to speed through material that's actually really important to thoroughly get. I'm always talking about the review process. I go over the Socratic review method in class, and that process takes a really long time. And students who do it
definitely. Yeah.
properly sometimes feel like they're falling behind schedule, in which case I say, that's fine. You can do fewer questions of a given type, but the
Yeah,
review process
definitely.
is important. So number of questions completed or even number of days in the schedule isn't always the most important metric. You could be looking at
Yeah.
the depth of your review process as well.
And another challenge, or like another reason why I want to score higher, as much as possible higher on the outside, is because of my GPA. So I graduated with a 3.4 GPA. Well, I walked into the last semester with a 3.5 GPA, but the whole pandemic really affected my work habits. I'm the type of person, I always study in the library. I can't really focus at home. So I was trying to adapt to that in the last semester of my my graduation, and it came down to 3.4. And then I want to go to schools, like I would love to go to Georgetown, or other law schools in Washington D.C. And I know for Georgetown, they want a minimum of 165 for the LSAT, if I'm not mistaken, and their GPA minimum is, I believe, 3.78, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what I was going to ask you to. Applying, let's say, I mean, my target of LSAT score is minimum a 165. A 165 to low 170s. That's my target score. That's why I gave myself a lot of room, postponing my test to April. And if I were to score, let's say, 167 or 168, but my GPA is a 3.4, how would that look for me? How would that look like for the admissions officer at Georgetown?
They see it all the time. Splitter applicants are common. Low LSAT, high GPA, vice versa is also fairly common. Obviously, higher numbers is better whenever possible. So my solution for you is simply, in terms of what's actionable, get the highest LSAT possible.
Yeah. And would you say that, let's say if I had a higher GPA and I got a lower LSAT score, like which one, is there a better situation to be in, or are they both like, just try to do your best? And I mean, of course, we'll try to do our best in any case, but in my case, I feel like I'm a bit advantaged because I can't change my GPA, but I can change my LSAT score, you know,
Well, the good news is that LSAT score weighs more heavily on average. So
on
LSAT is
average.
more important than GPA. They're both more important than the soft factors. But it's better to be in your position, lower GPA, presumably higher LSAT. And you can change that significantly and increase your odds significantly.
Okay, great. And LSAC has come up with this, it was, I call it a free take. If you pay, I believe, around $40 extra, you can cancel your score if you don't like it. And law schools don't get to see that. Is that correct? Law schools don't get to see your score if you cancel it within the first 6 days.
Correct.
Um,
Yes. So there's this new score preview option for first time test takers where if it's your first time ever sitting for the LSAT, you get to see your score before deciding whether to cancel. And law schools will never even know they'll never know what that score was. And in general, everybody can cancel their scores within the 6-day window, 6 calendar days, but typically you don't get to see it first. That's the exception for first-time test takers.
Okay. Okay. So basically, if that were to happen, the second time I would take it would be like my first time for the law schools looking at my application.
So let's say you take it once, you exercise the score preview option, you get to see your score, and then you cancel it because you decided it wasn't what you wanted. You then retake it. You can cancel your score again, but you won't get to see your score before canceling it the second time. So it'll be a question mark for you. It'll be a question mark for the law schools as well.
Yeah, the second time it will be on my file, but the first time, in no way it'll be attached to my file.
Well, they'll see that you canceled, but they won't know what the score was either way.
Oh, okay. They'll just see that. So how does that look like if I've canceled my score and they don't see it?
It's not a huge deal. I mean, one cancellation is totally normal. Even 2 is totally fine. You don't want to have a pattern of 5 takes and 5 cancellations because it starts to look like you're not exercising the right judgment as for when to take it, taking it when you feel ready. But a couple of cancellations is not a huge deal.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I've had for today. Thank you so much for, it's honestly, your material is great because if I have a question, I reach out to you, you reply like right away. It's not like you take 1 day or 2 days. You're always on top of your stuff. And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, Azad. I'm glad to upgrade to connect with you, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.